Hello YouTube, this is Charlie426, and today we have the review of the newly released Master Grade Gundam Alex 2.0 or Gundam NT-1 2.0. So we finally got the 2.0 of the Gundam Alex. A lot of people are a big fan of this, and I am a big fan. Mostly technically only the mobile suit. I am not a big fan of the chobam armor, which is why I'm starting at the chobam armor, and I'm going to strip it down part by part and then do the review. So this review is going to be a very long review. Technically, I knew it at the point where I bought this kit. I definitely felt that this review is going to be messy and long. So keep that in mind. So if you were expecting a 10-minute style review like Mecha Guy Kotsu, yeah, this is not your thing. And also, I would like to apologize that I won't be able to show 100% of the kit's articulation, mostly on the wrist, because those who have been following me on Facebook might have seen the message I sent out on my page where there is a kind of a RG Sazabi situation where there's this part or joint which is just too tight that if you don't do anything, it's bound to break, and that happened to me. When I was building the RG Sazabi, that information was already spread out, so I was aware. This time, I felt like I was one of the first early people to build this, and without any additional info, that happened. So I did give it an instant fix, but I also still have the broken part, which I will explain when I'm actually explaining the wrist. So I am not going to move the hands or wrists in any way, so keep that in mind. Alright, so before we go on to the articulation, we will go on our usual explaining of the components. So first of all, what you get, of course, is the Gundam Alex 2.0 himself and the chobam armor. Currently, it's wearing the chobam armor, and those who've seen the promotion pics and information that's been updated, the chobam armor for this one also includes the face mask. Now, this was never in the original series of the anime. This was actually, I'm not sure if a term reference is the best term, but if you actually bought the old SDG generation SD kit of the Alex, that comes with the chobam armor, that actually gave you this mask. So I thought this was a very good, reference of that. Okay, so other than that, let's see what we get. So there are some leftover parts, which is why I need to push this a little bit to the side. There we go. So let's talk about what you're supposed to get first. So here we have now for stickers. The sticker sheet, I was pretty impressed. There's only 2 stickers. Number 1 is the eyes. Obviously, I used it. Number 1 is the head camera sticker for the front part. Only the front part, because inside the head there's basically an inner frame in the head as well, and inside that inner frame there's this green there's this block of a clear green piece. So yeah, if you don't want to use the eye sticker, you have to color some areas black, and then they tell you to put a sticker on top of the clear piece, which I'm not a big fan of doing, which is why I didn't. But the problem is the back head of the camera there is a camera, but they don't give you a sticker for that, so I kind of found that a little bit odd. And then here we have some sticker decal sheets, which I kind of forgot to put this on the shield, because last night I finished building this including the chobam armor about 1:30 or 2 a.m. in the morning, so which is why I was very tired. And then here we have some leftover polycaps. This kit does not come with many polycaps, although I do wish they would have just used these, because I would have preferred these for the ball joint connections. I don't know why, but I don't know, like, is ball joint connections using polycaps bad? I just want to question that part. Okay, and then we get, other than the pilot figure, which, well, I assume it's that female pilot, but But the pilot figure that's inside the mobile suit is just wearing the space pilot suit, which is why it's really hard to, see. And then we get the characters from the anime as well, the boy and the kid and the Zakutu Kai pilot. Unexpected, but nice addition. And then we get a action-based connector. That's too special. Regarding leftover parts, so we get the beam rifle, which I still think looks like more of a machine gun, because we get 2 of the same plates that had this. This one was actually on a different plate, other than the other parts for the gun, which is, I found it odd. But because of that, we have 1 leftover piece. And as I mentioned, we get the beam rifle, which you can take out the clip. But the odd part is that this thing does not have any the hole and peg system, unless this is that hole. But I've tried using this does not really have a firm grip, which I'm not really sure what they were going with. And then we get this, a new weapon for the Alex. I mean, something that the Alex 1.0 didn't have. Now, this is the first time seeing this bazooka, because even in the Robot Damashi version, they did give you a bazooka, but I believe it actually looked identical as the RX-78, but this one actually has a more detail. And then that is actually a green clear piece on the scope or camera, whatever you prefer it, and the handle does move, or technically it's supposed to move, because it's supposed to be on. Yeah, it's supposed to move like that, but I don't know what's going on. There we go. So it's okay. Mine was a little bit stiff, and yeah. So there's the handle, and this one actually has the hole and peg system, so no need to worry. And then we have this part right over here. I think it's supposed to go out this way. There we go. So you can plug it onto the back of the mobile suit back skirt, but does not apply to the chobam armor, so you have to take it off anyway. So yeah. And then we get the shield. Now there has been some major changes, because there's a clipping point, and then we actually have an additional handle, which I won't be using because of the wrist. And then we can open this section up, which I find this a little bit too, how should I say, exaggerated or overkill, where if you want to use the Gatling while having the shield, you can open this part off so you can use Gatling. So nice consideration, but I'm not sure if this was too necessary. Now, I'm not saying that's bad. It's just that, you know, it's something I was not expecting. And let's talk about some other stuff. So we get a broken version of the V-fin. I did not break this on my own, so don't worry. This actually comes like this. So yeah, they did a good job. Of course, you're gonna have to share the blue piece that connects to the head. So I'm gonna put that away. And then we get some hands. So this is also one of those inter-swapping finger hands, which I do prefer, actually. So we get two open hands, nothing too special going on there. We get a trigger finger for left and right, so if you want to hold both the bazooka and the beam rifle, be my guest. And then here we have these multi-purpose hands, which are actually meant for holding the beam saber, as far as I know. Okay, and then regarding the leftover piece, we get one of these. If you see the Alex, they have these round thrusters here and there, and then we have one left over. And the interesting part regarding this is that that yellow piece and white piece is actually a separate piece. So yeah, and they don't fall off that easily, so very nice. And I will show that around. Somehow you get one left over. And this kit actually has one of those everybody's favorite garbage bag material thing. So this goes inside the shoulder, so this doesn't actually show out that well on the outside. So I guess it wouldn't really harm to not use this, because I'm actually on one arm. I just wanted to test out if there was any difference, and no, there's no difference, so you don't need to use it. And if you are going to use it, I kind of suggest that you cut this in half, because once you actually wrinkle it down to like the size like this, it's not that easy to connect the arms and the arm entirely to go in through and then find the hole, because yeah, it doesn't work that easily. So if you're going to use it, if you cut this in half or maybe 1/3, then it gets really easy. And here is that broken piece, which I will show a little bit later. Alright, so let's talk about some interesting things. Now, when you open the box, you will see this plate right off the bat. This is a metallic silver colored plate. This is actually used in the thrusters on the backpack for the Alex, not the chobam armor, and for the Gatling gun. So I thought that was a very nice touch. I just wanted to show you guys the color on camera, just in case the Gatling gun doesn't show that well. And then here we have a leftover piece, which I assume this is from the RX-78 Origins version, because let's see, RX-78-2, and that's something I can't read, but I'm gonna assume that's Origins because I have the 2.0, and the 2.0 doesn't have such parts. So yeah, some bazooka parts, some beam rifle parts, but I don't think that's enough to actually make the beam rifle, unless I'm wrong. So here's the entire plate, so let me know. Because I do not own the Origins versions yet. I'm actually still hoping for a Master Get local type, so that's why I'm not buying the Origins RX-78 yet. All right, let's get down to business. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to explain. So yeah, that's the head. I actually do like the fact that. So the eyes, those are stickers, but for some reason, because of my light setup, it looks like they're glowing. I took a picture with my camera, and one of those pictures actually looked like the eyes are clear at the moment, which Behind those eyes, there is actually a clear piece. I would just want to mention that. And no, there's no space for an LED or meant for an LED, so you're gonna have to modify it yourself. So yeah, the head with the armor, it can go down that much and then up that much, and then 360 twist is possible. Now I'm not sure what I did wrong. It could be some nub marks, but yeah, the connection I need to work on it a little bit more. I need to clean up the nub mark. Keep in mind I finished building this in 2 a.m. so there were some parts I just went off, and because I broke the wrist part, I was not feeling happy. So yeah, and this taking off the armor is not that hard. You just need to take this part off, and then yeah. So nothing actually, most of the armor parts don't actually clip onto the mobile suit itself. There's only a few that actually does, but like the leg section and such, they don't actually clip on or attach onto the leg directly. So with the head, without the chobam armor, definitely really nice to see that. The gray section, as I mentioned, there's an inner frame inside the head, so you can see the clear piece on the head camera. There's supposed to be one on the back. There we go. Red chin, that's color separated. Those Vulcan areas, the vents, those are all color separated pieces. So that can go down, up, 360, same issue. I mean, same deal, not issue. Okay, that's that. Oh, sorry about that. So we have the cockpit. You can open this section up, and technically, if you have small fingers or if you have one of these things, you could open. I'm not sure if this is supposed to work, but yeah, there's a way. You can actually try to open that section up, but in the manual they just only mentioned this part, so keep that in mind. Now the body part was kind of interesting because they tell you to like move the shoulders a little bit to the outside so you can put this in. I kind of forced mine in because I have my own reasons, which once again that's going to be something that you need to consider when you're building. So hopefully my video won't give you like every detail that you guys wanted, but at least it will warn you guys, will tell you guys about some areas that you have to be careful with when building, so you don't actually break anything like I did. So with the body, the articulation on the body itself, there's not much change. Now I think I can go 360 if I force it, but once again, that's not really recommended. And also, I don't think there will be many mobile suits that will go 360 anyway. There is a little bit of movement here, but once again, I'm pretty much collided with here and there. Now the backpack, based on my memory, the Alex 1.0. Oh, by the way, the reason why I don't have the Alex 1.0 out is that once again I am having trouble locating it because I threw away a lot of boxes. So some kits are mixed inside with other kits. So which is why I'm having a hard time locating a few kits. Back in the 1.0 version, I believe if you wanted to attach the armor for the backpack, you actually had to take off the beam sabers. This one, not so much. You can just you don't really need to do that. And also they have these opening of vents, so it can reveal those thrusters that I just showed you guys that was a leftover piece. So same goes for this. So there's two more, and there's obviously on the front as well. And then we can open this section to reveal another one. So those who've been seeing the promo pics is that the chobam armor also has its own inner frame like thing. So yeah, we will now look at those. Oh yeah, before that, let's look at the arms. So with the arms, with the chobam armor, the articulation, I say it's still okay, but this is as far as you go. To the side, yeah, obviously. If your arms is like that, not so much. And while in the chobam armor, you are able to like rotate the arm 360 if you want to do so, and 360 twist on the arm is possible. And then you can open this section up, which is kind of tricky, but it still works. But you're gonna need, it requires a lot of fiddling around, and I'm trying to still figure out how the inner frame works on this, because when you're building the inner frame for the chobam armor, it's kind of weird. There's some parts that you don't really get, but it works. So you can see the reveal Gatling gun, and it's actually in that nice metallic silver going on there, and you can see the inner frame being revealed. So yeah, come on, close up. So yeah, okay, so let's try to take this apart. So, oh boy, that did not sound good. So I'm going to take off the arm, which is why then if we do take off the arms or shoulder, then we'll have a much more easier time than taking off the main body, because pretty much this one's pretty much squeezed in at the moment. So we have this inner frame on here, and then I'm going to take off the arms. Yeah, these are new molds, but they pretty much work kind of similar. Ooh, okay, that came off a little bit easy. Now the top section of the arm, I really don't know how it's supposed to connect, but you just saw that, right? It just popped out really easily. So we have the inner frame. The inner frame has to be connected to the outer armor so it actually stays in place. Because in the manual, come on, how do I take this off? Yeah, there we go. In the manual, they just tell you to do this. It just latches. It's just there. So there's no actually connecting point. So this part might annoy you when you're trying to attach the chobam armor. Sorry about that. I had to sneeze. And then let's take off this part. So also, if you were wondering, if you can attach the shield while having the chobam armor, I'm gonna say no because it's not really mentioned in the manual. So I'm not gonna risk anything. So we took off the armor, and then we have to take off the chobam armor inner frame, which is very stiff at the moment. There we go. So this one actually attaches to the armor here. There's actually a square peg there. So good connection, but not easy to take off. And then yeah, this part you just need to detach like each peg just to make sure. And then once again, for the shoulder armor as well, there's actually a peg on the shoulder itself. Yeah, just in case, I'm gonna take off the head so I don't risk anything, especially like breaking like the V-fin, because I hate breaking the V-fin. Granted, there's a already pre-built broken one. So yeah, here's the shoulder. Once again, we have those thrusters, and there's actually a square peg which actually connects to here, and there's more pegs that connects to each other. Oops. So here we have the arm. So same deal for the other arm. So we're going to take that off. As I mentioned, this is going to be a long review, so if you're expecting a short, don't watch mine, because I want to give out as much detail or information as possible. And I think it'd be smart if I take these parts, the detached armor parts away, so I have more space. Yeah, you heard that, right? That pretty much tells me that I do not care for the chobam armor at all. I said this when I was reviewing the HG and 1.0 as well, and even the Robot Damashi version. I seriously do not care for the ooh, okay. I seriously do not care for the chobam armor, so for the Robot Damashi, I'm really glad they actually have two separate ones, one with the armor and one without. So, okay, there we go. We took out the armor. We're almost there, and I think we should have less issues taking off the body. Of course, this part's still a little bit annoying. So we have to take this blue part. I mean, if we can take it off entirely, that'd be better. There we go. Okay, more ideal. Okay, so now let's take off the body section. So the body section is pretty much straightforward. Okay, well, the backpack came off. That was kind of unexpected. Then again, the way how this thing connects, I wouldn't be surprised, because actually the backpack was one of those areas that I was kind of worried about. Because let's take these parts individually. Hopefully it'll come off a little bit easier. There we go. Okay, so there's like 4 parts. We have the main back part, and then the lower part, and then the side parts. So yeah, so the principle is still the same as the 1.0, but just different mold. So here we have, you can see this part is actually opened up, so they can connect the chobam armor. You can close that down. Of course, doing that the first time might be tricky, but it works. And then this is actually one of those metallic silver parts I was talking about for the thrusters. So yeah. And then now let's go with the body. Hopefully now we will have less issues. Yeah, it's kind of jammed in there. Oh wait, what's going on here? So yeah, so when you're building the Alex, it's okay, but when you're actually now doing the chobam armor part, it will, you know, bring some questions like what, like the manual sometimes doesn't really make sense, but it still works. So yeah, come on, we're almost out. Yeah, sorry about the struggle, but yeah, this wouldn't be an issue if actually the parts that, you know, that's supposed to like move out a little bit easier. Wouldn't. Okay, we're almost there, but something's just not letting go. There we go. Okay. So there we have the outside armor. So this is how it works, and then you can see the inner frame inside. So, so my biggest question regarding this kit is that, so do we have to take off the like outer armor first and then the inner frame later? So every time we have to attach and detach that? That is some question I want to ask. Because in the manual, because they tell you to apply the inner frame first and then they attach the armor on the outside. So, which was a big question, like, is that all the process that we have to go through every single time? And then, what the hell's going on with the arm? Okay, never mind. I'm just going to take off the arm. Okay, it's not coming out. Something is not right here at the moment. Oh, it's oh, okay. So it's backwards at the moment. There we go. Sorry about that. So I think it's a good time to explain what happened here. So you can see the hand here. I used like two pieces, one polycab and another like peg going on here to reattach it. So I can still kind of rotate it. And this is where you're supposed to apply the garbage bag material. So here's the one I actually attached right over here. Let me see if I can. Okay, so there's the garbage bag material, but I only used half of it, and it worked much more better. So that's what I suggest you to do. But even so, the shoulder armor is not actually, as you can see, it's not attached to the whatchamacallit, arm itself. It's actually attached to the inside to this part, which is actually connected to the main shoulder, like connecting points. But it's not a bad thing because you can actually take it off if you want to do so by rotating this piece about 180, because there's this locking mechanism going on here. Okay, and there we go. So yeah, so even without the garbage bag material, oh boy, it doesn't really affect the connection, unlike the Thunderbolt Gundam where or the Psycho Zaku, which it was kind of necessary to make a firm connection. This one is not that case, and yeah, because of what I was doing last night, to fix some issues, this arm is kind of like falling apart a little bit easier. So that's not supposed to happen. Just so don't worry. And regarding the chobam armor, this part kind of falls off a little bit easily for mine. So keep that in mind, because this one just like pretty much there is a peg connection going on here, and this one actually has a firm connection. But yeah, and then this one actually connects the front skirt directly, but the front skirt itself is pretty interesting if you ask me. So I'm going to take it off, and then I took it off, and you can see there's a actually hole there. What you can do is push this up, and then it covers up the hole. So you can see they actually put in a lot of consideration. So I felt like they didn't want to show a lot of holes on the mobile suit itself, which is why they did like things like this. Some parts work, some parts don't, but oh well. It's a nice consideration they actually did. So we're almost there. As I mentioned, long videos, don't expect short videos from me. Okay, and now for the leg part is pretty easy, but I think I should take off the back skirt. Now back skirt, we have these extremely large thrusters, like, you know. Now this one should just come off a little bit easily because it's just connected to a peg, as far as I know. Yeah, there we go, yeah. And there is that hole where you can connect the bazooka. Yeah, there's just a lot of inner frame going on. Those thrusters are also individual pieces. And then the legs. There you go. The legs, at least the legs falls off easily. And this, while building this, I kind of felt like it would be interesting to make a metal build Alex, but instead of like having like armor connections like this, maybe they could do like magnets, and then so they can come off easily, or make not a metal build, but maybe another separate toy where there's a button somewhere, and then they would spring load everything off. So yeah, as I mentioned, they tell you to attach these inner frames of the chobam armor first. So, and as you can see, the inner frames don't come off that easily, and here we have another one that slides on. So for more connection. So I believe the front part has to come out the last. Okay, never mind. There we go. So at least the legs ones, like the 1.0, they're not too hard to attach nor hard to like to disassemble, as long as those pegs cooperate with you. Okay, come on. There we go. So here we have all the armor off. Finally. Woo! I think I forgot to show the articulation regarding the legs, but I don't think that matters at this point. And here we have the head attached, and finally we have the base mobile suit going on here. So once again, we'll go with the articulation one more time. So without the armor, we have a double jointed bend actually, and then 360 twist on the arm is possible. The wrist is supposed to rotate 360. Now this one does not actually. This one is still having its own original piece. I tried to oil it up, but that wasn't enough. So this is what. So here's the instruction manual. So here we have. This is the part that broke. So what I broke is this part, the ball joint. So this is supposed to connect here. So this is connects, and then this is where you attach the actual hand of the kit. So what you need to do is you either have to sand this down and maybe oil this section up, because this is not a polycap, these are plastics. So what happened was that I realized that the ball joint was just too stiff, so I was trying to take it off, but while taking it off it just broke. I didn't twist anything, but for some reason it broke. I tried to reattach it using some glue, but the glue was a little bit too powerful to the point where it started melting, and didn't work on mine. So yeah, this is how it turned out. Yeah, just so when you're doing it, be careful. Try to apply some oil on it or whatever. Like, I heard some people use dish soap or something. So, and another piece that I would kind of suggest that you be careful with is that there's this part where yeah, this part. So the hole for this part shouldn't be a big issue here, but on these areas, on these pegs, they don't go in that easily, and if you do force it, it does go in, but it's also very stiff. So once again, there's a chance that you might break this peg right over here on the main body. So you might want to sand some down here as well on the peg, so it goes in a little bit smoothly, and maybe some oil onto these holes as well, just in case. Mine does not have any oil on them, but I did sand down the peg, so it does move a little bit more smoothly. So because of that, but thanks to that gimmick, you can move the shoulder backward and forward, and that, as you can see, it's supposed to be able to pop out like that. Last night when I was trying to apply the chobam armor, it was just so stiff that this was not actually happening. So you can see now it's going in. Okay, and you can actually open up the cockpit. Only opens up not much, and I don't think this has that sliding gimmick where some mobile suits can open up the cockpit, not like this, but you can slide up. That's not really present here. And then oh yeah, and there's one more chobam armor right over here. Yep. So there is kind of a nice ab crunch going on. So yeah, so the chobam armor was the one that was kind of blocking its area. Whoa! And the arm articulation is pretty interesting. We have another rotating point here, So yeah, the main joint is not actually bothered at all. So which is why we are able to like pull off some nice galling poses, because even up to this point, the HG or the Master Grade 1.0, what we had to do was to rotate the entire arm to do the pose like this, and then to be honest, that's not the best pose, and sometimes it looks very awkward. So I'm gonna pull this out, and then here we have the another Gatling gun. So you can see the metallic version in there, very nice. And then because of how the wrist works, there's actually another moving point up and down right over here. Okay, and then let's look at the backpack. Once again, these are all connected as ball joints. The beam sabers can pop out a little bit easily. Well, not pop out, I mean they're connected into the peg, so they're not really loose. I think they're more closer, because I remember some versions being a little bit more on the wider side. Okay, and then the front skirts are very interesting regarding this. The front skirts, usually we would have like a middle connection between here, but instead, or a ball joint connection to the inside. But this one, there's actually just a peg, so we can move forward that much, and then can move a little bit to the side like that. So that's very interesting. And then those yellow parts are all color separated pieces, black pieces also separated. So every yellow part you see is pretty much color separation. And the side skirts don't move that much. Back skirt actually does move like this, and then we have more thrusters going on. And then we have a nice side swivel going on here. Oops. Yeah, this is how the side skirt connects. I remember someone commenting on Facebook where there's supposed to be a yellow piece here, but oh well. Yep. Side swivel, and then can move to the leg 90 degrees if you don't have that armor. And then you can move forward 90 degrees up front. Nice kick. And then double jointed bend. And like the Robot Damage version, there's actually something like a nice reference going on here. Like this part can actually goes inside like that. So this does actually answer my questions regarding that. And then once again, all the yellow separate pieces. And then like I remember the Masquerade HD don't having this nice black detail, but in the inner frames for the legs and for the legs and body, they use this black piece, and I really like the nice touch. And that red section there is also a separate piece, so not a sticker. Nice detail going on there. And the feet are your ball jointed feet, and then you have a nice toe bend. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a toe, but oh well. Yeah, and then the legs can go to the side 90 degrees if you don't have the side skirt armor. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the articulation. So the articulation for the kit alone is very good. I'm just gonna say that. And 360 is also possible without the chobam armor. So the chobam armor is the main thing that's like restricting articulation. So I really don't know why some people like the chobam armor, because it really hinders the main potential of the mobile suit. Okay, of course, while it's not really back heavy or anything, but because of the feet, the toe bend kind of works a bit easily. Sometimes it will be wobbly, so just keep in mind, like, to make sure both feet are on the ground flat. Okay, now let's look at the weapons. So I think most people are gonna like this bazooka. I personally like this bazooka. Of course, the color is kind of like off, but oh well. So the way how the shield attaches, like the old HD version, it still has the clipping gimmick, and there is the handle. Yeah, I always get lost when it comes to these kind of hands. So yeah, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna use this hand just to make sure. There we go. So another interesting thing is that if you're going to attach the fist, it has to go in like to the side. But if you're using other hands, you can just plug it up into the front. So I think that's a very nice, oops, wrong hand. Even the wrong side of the hand actually does connect. So I think that's a nice gimmick. So let me just actually zoom in and show you guys that. So for these kind of hands, you can just plug into the front, but for the fist, you have to put the peg inside that small hole. But it is much more easier to now, swap out stuff. So you can attach the shield onto the handle, which doesn't actually have much, grip, and then there you go. It actually clips onto the of the blue part of the section. So yeah, I'm sorry about the messy review, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys were expecting that. But of course, if you want to use the Gatling gun while having it, I think you have to not have it over there. Okay, you know what? You win. Fine. We'll do it on here. Yeah, so this handle might get a little bit in the way, but it's not as bad as you think. Oh, and there's also another peg that connects to the blue armor, so no big deal actually when you think about it. And then you can attach it right. You can open up the shield, and then which will allow you to open the Gatling gun right over here. So it still works. Of course, this handle placement might be tricky, but since the handle does also move, since it's connected to a peg, it shouldn't be a big problem. The reason why I'm not able to show it more, properly is because mine broke. Oh boy, and what's going on here? And yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay. So now let's look at the beam rifle. So the interesting thing about the weapons is that they tell you to attach it. They tell you to attach the hand first and then do it. Or for the bazooka, they tell you to attach it to the hand and then connect the fingers. I like for this one, since there's no hole and peg system, just attach the hand first. Oh, come on. Great. That's lost forever. So what they tell you to do is to attach. Well, I mean, this is supposed to be the ideal way. Okay, good. The arm just fell off, so that's good. So I can show you guys. There we go. So we have the arm connected, but okay, it's not wobbly. And if you have the actually connect wrist, it's okay, because what I was testing on the other arm, and it was not easy to do so. And here's that garbage bag material. I only used half of it, which is why it was much more easier to actually attach this thing going on here. And yep, there we go. Of course, the peg, to some people, the peg that connects the main arm to the body may feel a bit short, but that's just how it is. There we go. And then we're gonna take this part off. And this one, let's now check the bazooka. Now the bazooka, they tell you to attach the weapon first. So there's supposed to be a peg on the hand. So you can see there's a small peg going on there, and then yeah, the peg is actually a little bit on the hole is kind of on the low side. So you have to attach it right over. Oh boy, come on. Yeah, it's really hard to do this in front of camera. Usually I wouldn't have a big problem doing this like without on my own. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with the bazooka attached to the hand and the beam rifle on the other hand. So yeah, the main thing about this kit is that you won't be able to actually take out the hand. But at least because what happened to my right hand, I was able to actually modify it and then take off the hand and then reattach it. So I had much more easier times. But once you actually have the front part on, it's no longer wobbly. I mean, when you're attaching the handle to the main hand itself, it may not feel secure. But once you have the front part of the hand attached, it feels much more secure. And it's really good to actually have something that, you know, the 1.0 didn't actually have. Okay, so we're going to take that out, and let's see how the bazooka connection is onto the back. And then we'll see the beam sabers. And yeah, there we go. We have a very firm connection. Actually looks pretty nice. Although I would assume it would collide with a lot of stuff when you're like that. And then I forgot to mention we actually do get 2 beam saber effect parts, pink ones, the long ones. So yeah. So if you were worried that if we weren't getting any beam sabers, you don't need to. Granted, there were, like back in the old HG kits, I mean HGUC kits, there were some kits that actually have like beam sabers hilts, but they don't have whatchamacallit, the beam saber effect parts. There were certain cases like that. Okay, this is the wrong hand. I wonder why this one was not going in. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna take this part off and then attach the beam saber effect, and let's see how it goes. So everything you see at the moment, I'm just doing it right off, like for the first time. And yeah, you can just slide it in there, and it has a very firm connection. So you can pull off a lot of poses and we're to do any more fun stuff with it. And that is pretty much it for the review. Now, I'm really sorry for like the messy review, but I did my best. I really never cared for the chobam armor, which is why you saw me like throw away some chobam armor parts. I always cared for the Alex itself, because I always saw the chobam armor. It doesn't really serve much purpose other than being a shield that's all over its body. You can't. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Alex can't even fight properly with the chobam armor on. Although the interesting part is that the manual doesn't really mention whether you can actually attach the shield onto the chobam armor, but I've tried it a few times. It doesn't really work out well. So that's pretty much how it is. So yeah, we got the Master Grade Alex 2.0, and as long as you don't actually break the wrist like mine, this is a very great kit. I mean, I just bought this for the Alex 2.0. I really didn't care about the chobam armor, so if you really want one, definitely get it. It's really worth the purchase. Really like the size. The inner frame build is very fun. You can even get more figures than you think, and yeah. Of course, the garbage bag material might be a letdown, but as I mentioned, it's not required, it's not necessary, so you can go without it. And if you are going to use it, use half of it. It's much more easier to use half of it. Anyway, thanks for watching the review, and sorry for the messy review in general, but hopefully this review was helpful to you guys, and hopefully you guys won't have any issues like I did. So anyways, thank you for watching the review. This was the review of the Master Grade Alex 2.0. If you guys got any questions or requests, leave a comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.